Have you ever been triggered and before you know it, things just come right out of your mouth? And then you go, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that. But it's too late to take it back. Well, that's a lot to do with just how we're wired, our neuroscience. And that's where the critical element of emotional intelligence comes into play, is learning how to manage those reactions in the moment, because they can be damaging, hurtful, and harmful. And so I want to draw upon an acronym shared with me by my colleague and fellow mediator and also litigator, Sam Artery. I first heard Sam at a conference in Atlanta a couple of years ago, loved what he had to say, read his book, and he's been a guest on my podcast, and so many pearls of wisdom. I encourage you to check it out on Decoding the Conflict Mindset. But back to the acronym. It's very similar for those of you who have watched any of my other videos around the 3 B's. Be in the moment, breathe through the moment, and break free from the moment. Well, Sam has come up with a slightly different alternative, but very parallel. And I have found that my clients like both, and so I share both to say, okay, this is an option. And I find it very helpful to help redirect those intense emotional experiences where we do tend to blurt out whatever we're thinking. And again, that's not always very helpful. It can have long-lasting effects. I just, encourage you to think back to when somebody has said something to you that is hurtful, harmful, and damaging. Doesn't feel good, does it? So the acronym, P.A.R.C, P-A-R-C, P.A.R.C. So park it, a way to manage your emotions. So P, what does that stand for? P is for pause. When you feel like you're being triggered, usually we have, not usually, always, we have a physiological reaction. Our heart starts beating faster, our breathing may become more shallow. You might feel that knot in the stomach, or our head feels like it's just pounding or in a freeze. That's the physiological reaction before we even ever begin to make sense of what it means way up here, our prefrontal cortex. So pause. And that's the opportunity to apply 3 or 4 deep breaths. Deep breaths. Slowly in, really filling up the abdomen and the stomach, and slowly out. And I encourage you to do that 3 or 4 times because, quite honestly, you begin to feel the effects within just 2 to 3. I guarantee it. My clients tell me time and time again that's the best technique that they have learned to redirect their emotional reaction. So pause. What that does, it allows the neuronal firing, the nerves triggered by what has happened, to get back up out of the emotional brain and into the prefrontal cortex. It just takes nanoseconds, really. Then the A stands for assess. What's going on? What just happened? What's going on within me? That's the self-awareness component of emotional intelligence. And then also what's going on around me? What's happened? Is there somebody else involved? Did somebody else say something? And so it's a combination of what we say to ourselves, but also what others say to us. That's the other or social awareness. And then the R is for reflect. What are my options? Okay, I could react just the way I normally do and say whatever, because that's who I am and that's what I'm about. Or you could say, how's that worked for me before? Not probably, or you wouldn't be listening to this video. And so reflect is saying, okay, what are my options? Where can I go? Do I go the way I used to go? Or is this an option where I can actually choose to say, I'm the architect of my life. What is something I can do that will help move me forward into better communication, better relationships, and better listening? And so this is important to work out as far as what are your options? And hopefully before you get triggered again. And that's where sometimes some help might be due you and warrant you in order to be aware of what are your options. Acquiring new skills is really important. And then lastly, C is for choose an option. Out of the options you reflected upon, now choose one. And if, hopefully the option you choose is going to take you in the direction you want to go, not back to the direction where you used to go, okay? Again, you are the architect of your life. You can make a choice, even in those triggered moments, but it does mean pausing. That's first and foremost. And then breathing, just to give your body a chance to reacclimate and get the brain signals back up here, not stuck back here in the limbic brain. And so pause, assess, reflect, and choose. I guarantee you that if you practice those 4 little steps, it will make a world of difference in how you show up and how you communicate with others. And I'll let you know that when you choose to pause, it actually sends a signal to the other person saying, oh, you've caught yourself, and you're actually thinking about what else you could do. I could tell you countless stories between people I coach and mediate with that when they apply this, they actually do see a difference. And the impact it has on the other person is amazing because they see it. 55% of how we communicate is by what we see. Facial expressions, eyes, body language. And so use that opportunity to make a choice, to make a difference in how you show up. Again, I'll say, I can guarantee it. You will see a change in your relationships, no matter where they are, by making a decision to park it. I'm Dr. Debra Dupree, the Mindset Doc. I hope you find these tips valuable and useful because I know they work.